In this video, I'll talk about non-existence and death. And I'm going to talk about how non-existence is not death. Non-existence and death is not the same thing, though those two concepts are readily conflated with each other. So you will ask, what is death? Well, death is the cessation of consciousness and all other bodily functions. And, death is basically a function of life. I mean, in order for you to die, you have to have been in this material reality. As in, you was born, some kind of way you materialized here, and then you experienced, and then after the experience, your consciousness succeeded, and other bodily functions, it subsided, and ultimately is also accompanied through time by physical decomposition. I mean, basically that's death. Now, non-existence is something different. Non-existence will be something that not only never was here, not only is not here, is never here. I mean, non-existence is something that don't exist and something that never existed, or something that never exists. And if I could use an example of that, let's say you got two people. You got one person had a child and the child died. You see what I'm saying? You got two people who got no kids. You got one person, as I stated, who had a child and the child died. And you had another person who never ever had a child, who never ever had offspring. Well, the individual who never ever had offspring, their potential offspring is non-existence. Because it's something that never ever came about. Non-existence will also be, let's say for instance, if you on the bus, you two people of healthy breathing age. They're on the bus, one person sitting in the back, and other person sitting in the front of breathing age. They never ever interact with each other. They only see each other one time in life, and then that's just it. The individual you walking through the mall with somebody who is, married. You might walk past a married couple, and you might be with your, whoever you call your other, and you only see those people one time. Well, each one of y'all could have made it and made offspring, but that's non-existent because it could never happen. So those combinations, those potential combinations, are all non-existent. You might have went to a club, somebody in school, you're walking past people in school, you might have went to a club, at your job, any of those places, all of those potential combinations that could be, but that never can be, well, that's non-existence. And as I stated earlier, through the example of two people who have, two people, somebody who had kids and their child died. Well, that person who had kids and their child died, well, that's death. They was here, they had offspring. The offspring died, it left a body to, that's going to be processed in some kind of way, maybe cremation, and even the cremation, it still leave dust, or the natural physical decomposition, as it decomposes, and it eventually break down into, the dust. Also, with that individual, with the person whose child died, is memory, or some kind of memory of that individual, even if the individual, died right after birth. Well, there's still some memory of that. Versus, let's say, an individual who never ever decided to have kids, well, it wouldn't be no memory of that child or that offspring that might have died. And then also, it's not leaving the body to be dust, and it's not processed in no kind of way. The body not missing none of that stuff because, again, it don't exist. It don't exist for it to go through any processes here in this existence, in this, in this realm, in this universe, on this planet. So that's what I mean by non-existence and death is not the same thing. Death is something that was here, that materialized here, and then eventually left through decomposition, most likely, decomposition, versus non-existence, something that never ever existed here.